We didn't follow the slideshow that I have normally set up and that is on the web. I've changed it around a little bit for our convenience. So last week, of course, we did the scorekeeping end of things and really just wanted to have a really good detailed look at how to scorekeep and how to move that peg and how to mark the diagonal slashes and what the best practices were in that. And if you had watched the quick start video from USAPA that is on both their site and the PCO site, you would have pretty well, we covered everything that was on there. And of course, now you have to get out and practice that. So it becomes second nature to handle that clipboard and the peg. And really then you're able to watch the court and what's going on with the play on that court and your primary duties and responsibilities. So today we have a lot of information to cover, more than we did last week by far, and it'll probably raise more questions, but I'd like to keep to the same format if I could, and that is to push the questions towards the end, because I think with the conversation that I'll have and after the slides come up, I'm hopefully going to answer them. If not, please send Walter. Walter is going to be, again, monitoring the chat line, and send him any questions that you might have. And if there's certainly something I've said that you don't understand, and it's important we understand that before we move on, you can stop and make sure we have that clear before we head on. Of course, myself, USAPA and PCO certified. So again, this is all based on the 2020 IFP and the USAPA rulebook. It's also the 2020 Pickleball Canada Organization Officiating Handbook, which is taken right from pretty much from the USAPA version as well. We talked again about scorekeeping last time. So this time we're going to go through common on-court situations. We're going to start with, well, referee behavior, if you like, and code of conduct. That's where we're really going to be starting. Then we're going to move on to common on-court situations, less common court situations, the 2020 rule changes that happened last year, almost a year ago, and working with line judges, and then we'll take some questions and hopefully provide some answers. So code of conduct. It's very important. The USAPA is certainly cracking down on this. Now that we're having tournaments with the professionals and money is involved, they have been very strict with the referees to make sure that there is no conflicts of interest. To the degree even, if I am a player and a certified referee, and I am sponsored by one of the paddle companies, and I am going out to referee a game, and there are no relatives out there, there's no close friends out there, but one of the other teams from the company that I'm representing is out there, I am to disqualify myself from doing that tournament or doing that game or match. So just understanding that's how serious they're getting on that. They don't want to have any conflicts of interest. So again, you excuse yourself and pass that game on to another one. So that would be very hard if you're with, you know, Selkirk or somebody like that, which has a large team, and you're going to lose out on a lot of refereeing and have to wait and sit for another team to come in there. So at all times, you're on display when you're out there as a referee. So you need to show the professionalism and have a very pleasant demeanor and come across, but not, again, overly friendly. You need to be respectful to everybody that's out there because, again, you're being watched by spectators and if not even on camera. Again, avoid over-friendliness. That's a bit of an issue because once you've been refereeing for a while, you get to know the players, you get to know people very well, and you don't want to give any feeling that you may be going to, you know, somebody's going to benefit from that friendship. So you, again, be pleasant, say hello, but don't go overboard and don't be going, oh, what did we, that was great. We had a lot of fun last night, didn't we, Cheryl? So you don't want to get into that situation. Avoid emotional reactions. Again, you have to remain calm and cool the whole time. It doesn't matter what's happening on your court. So you need to avoid any emotions that you can. Never, it says do not comment on play. I'll be stronger than that. Never, ever comment on play and say, oh, nice shot. I don't care if they had 100 rally going back and forth, and finally somebody puts a great shot away with a nerney. You never comment on it. As a line judge, as a referee, definitely not. Avoid anger or confrontation. That's hard to do. You got somebody on that court that's very angry and is coming at you. How are you going to avoid that? Turn your back and walk away from them? You have to handle that. So you have to settle things down. And we'll talk about that, bringing them to the middle of the court and making things level-headed. Enforce rules in accordance with the best practices. That is your job out there. It doesn't matter whether you believe in the rule or not. Your job is to take the rules as they have been issued and apply them the best you can and consistently. Avoid being dictatorial. Don't want to go out there and be a dictator, but you want people to be listening to you. You want to have that respect, and they need to do what you say when you say it. You need to devote your full attention. This is a good one. This is one that I struggle with quite often. You're out there, I go out and I ref more or less all day at some of these large tournaments. And, you know, something else that can be happening on another court might want to take your attention as they roar and applaud. You can't afford to turn and your eyes and look away from the court that you're on, even if nothing is happening. You've got to have blinders on, and it is your court that you're focused on at all times. I can't tell you enough. That's probably one of the biggest enemies for a referee, is their attention being disturbed and distracted. So you can't afford 1 second of distraction. Even if you make a mistake, you distract yourself because you start thinking, oh gosh, what did I just do? Forget what you just did and watch what's happening on the court right now. Stand and be attentive. I think the important thing there is your standing. There is no sitting as a referee. No slouching and leaning on fences, nothing like that. That's not professional. So again, you're on the spotlight and you need to be thinking that way the whole time. There's the leaning. Use and carry no devices that could interfere with play. Most definitely. Cell phones, I wouldn't even bring it on the court. Get away from it completely, and don't be distracted by anything else. Excuse yourself from refereeing family, close friends, and certainly doubles partners. That's just a no-brainer. Again, we want to avoid any conflict of interest there and being biased or appeared to be biased. So you just do not get into refereeing any of those people. Just say to the referee in charge or the referee coordinator, I'm not going to do that game, please. Can you give me the next one? Be what you would like to be as a referee, what you would like to have on the court refereeing you. And I think this is a really good one. This puts it into context. The referee is a facilitator. So you're the fifth, usually in doubles play, you're the fifth person in the court. The four people that are playing, of course, is where everybody is watching and what's going on. And what you need to do is facilitate the play so that they have a fair and even game and everything is equal and well done, and you've done your job. The match is about the players and the game. It doesn't say it's not about the referee, but it does. That's the insinuation there. It's not about you, the referee, and how well you did and how many non-volley zones that you might have caught or whatever else is going on. You just quietly go about your job. It's about those players that are on there and working hard all day, usually in the heat. All right, so getting on to some common court situations that happen. Even at nationals, they have temporary nets. Now, their temporary nets don't have a horizontal bar as it would happen, but let's just talk about those portable nets that are out there with the horizontal bars, because that's one that a lot of people don't understand where the rules are and how to apply the rules on that. So if the ball strikes the horizontal base before bar, that is, before going over the net, it's a fault, right? It's too low down, it hits the net or the bar, and it's an immediate fault. The ball goes over the net and hits the center base, the horizontal bar, or it even gets caught before landing between the net and the horizontal bar, or the vertical bar, the middle post, it's a let and it's a replay. Nobody had a chance on that ball, so that's the fair way to deal with that. It's a let. If the ball bounces with enough backspin after going over the net to hit the net or the horizontal bar prior to the second bounce, a let and a replay will be called. So you understand that one? Ball goes over the net with enough backspin that it comes back over the net, but it's still got spin on it. And when it hits on this side of the court, it immediately throws itself right back into the net. That player didn't get an opportunity to play it, and that's a let. Same as it hits the horizontal bar. Legal service motion, the legal serves. We need to understand that one. I think everybody pretty well has it. That's pretty much a basic, but it's certainly one that referees are continually having to be on top of and have a lot of dispute over. So there are three basic elements. The ball must be contacted in an upward motion, first off. And that's a little bit not quite correct. There's a word missing in that statement. Anybody want to tell me what it is? Can't hear you, got to unmute to talk there. I saw some lips moving. What's the word that's missing? Hit in an upward motion. With, what's that?
Underhand.
No, it's got to have arc. All right, so arc means that it's coming up and over the shoulder, more or less. And of course, that's really, again, a disputed one. How much arc is good enough and how much is too little? So at what point is the arc, right? But really, I think when I look at this, it's a basic underhand bowling serve is what they were looking for. And people are trying to gain advantages and doing all sorts of things to avoid the rule. So this is, again, one that is very, very difficult to monitor. The paddle below the waist, okay? So when the ball is in contact with the paddle, that paddle cannot be above the waist, and the waist is defined as the navel. That's important. While it's in contact with it. The highest point of the paddle head must be below the wrist break. And okay, so again, there's the wrist break right there. If the paddle head is above that at all, any portion of that paddle, then that is a fault. And that's the one I see most commonly, is that they're doing sidearm serves and they're trying to get an advantage by putting topspin on it. And as soon as they do this topspin by brushing up the back of the ball, they're going to come over the top and break the wrist, and their paddle head is going to be above the wrist break. And if it's above the wrist break, it's a fault. And again, that's at point of contact with the ball on the paddle. They can have their hand up above before they start serving, as long as when that ball is hit, it's down below the wrist break. All right, so now we're going to talk about the server out of position or the wrong server. After the ball has been served, announce service fault and state the second server or the side out. So that's, that's your job. So if the score is 0-2-2 and they serve and it's a wrong server or they're out of position, you call fault, side out. Right, plain as that. And away they go. They know the ball is going to the other side. Explain briefly as necessary. So you would just say wrong server, incorrect server, or again, wrong court, serving from the wrong court. There we go. Service court change. After the score has been called, if the serving team recognizes that the potential service error and makes a change, the receiving team may need time to reposition, right? Step in and announce you will recall the score. After the So that's it. So let's just set this scenario up a little bit and talk about it, because this is a good one. And this happened as a result of a couple of amendments and rule changes. So what we're talking about is the serving team lines up to serve. Automatically, the receiving team lines up accordingly. So they have one person that's up at the net, and they have the receiver that's back at the baseline, correct? All right. I'm watching you, so shake your heads. That's good. Thank you. So that person who has the ball in their hand all of a sudden gets a feeling and says, "Ref, am I the right server?" And the referee says, "No, you're not." So what happens is they toss the ball over to their partner. The score has been called, and they go to serve. And that was a problem that we had when that came in. So right away, what the referee does now, if that happens, you throw your hands up in the air. Time. I'll recall the score and allow the receivers to get into position. Then you actually take a step forward and put yourself on the court so that there is no doubt that you're stopping play. And as soon as the receivers are given time to get into position, and now the servers are aligned correctly and they have the right server serving from the correct court, as long as that's what they think, you don't worry about it. If they're still wrong, you're not going to say anything. You're just going to get ready to call fault, second server or side out based on whatever the score is. All right, everybody understand that one? It's an important one. It happens more regularly than you think. People are in the wrong position, and so they automatically toss that ball to their partner, and then their partner thinks that they can serve it right away. So you need to step in there without any question, both hands in the air, palms out, time, and stop the play.